and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
You know, the most intense drama, the kind of stuff that really, really twists the knife. It often doesn't happen on some grand stage or in a big high-stakes meeting.
No.
It happens quietly, doesn't it? In the kitchen, maybe over a cup of tea, with the people we're supposed to know and love the best.
Well, that familiarity is exactly what raises the emotional temperature.
Yeah.
When we deep dive into these really intimate family dynamics, what you're really looking at is a study of boundaries.
Okay, yeah.
It's all about how people manage, or, more often mismanage, the flow of crucial information.
And what happens when that trust is broken?
Exactly. Or maybe even worse, when those boundaries are just aggressively ignored.
Absolutely. And the stack of sources we've got today gives us, a perfect, really fascinating snapshot of this exact kind of pressure cooker environment.
Mm-hmm.
On the surface, everything seems fine, life is ticking along. Leica got a new job, which is a huge relief for her. She just hated that insurance gig.
Oh, that's great news.
Yeah, and the Christmas meat orders are already looking better than last year, which is, great for the business. And tonight, Lena's cooking dinner. Just normal life.
And you need that baseline, right? Those small routine victories kind of establish a sense of stability. But underneath all that, the sources show this rapid buildup of pressure.
Yeah.
So our mission today is really to dissect two parallel and very high-stakes dramas. One is all about unwarranted suspicion, rooted in nosiness, and frankly, a very funny lie.
And the other?
And the other is much, much darker. It's a story where this devastating circumstantial evidence threatens to confirm the worst possible truth about someone you love.
It's a study in two different kinds of secrets, isn't it? And two different kinds of betrayal. So let's unpack this. We'll start with segment one, the story of Leonard, the man wrongly accused of having an affair.
And the really shocking lie he told to defend himself.
What's so wild is how fast this all escalated. It went from 0 to 100.
It really did. The initial data points for Ruth and Pip were, they were so benign, some cryptic phone calls.
Right.
And seeing Leonard meeting a woman, Connie, at a cafe. That's it. And yet they immediately defaulted to the most dramatic possible story.
He must be having an affair.
He must be. It's a classic information vacuum.
Oh, yeah. When people see a gap, they don't fill it with the boring truth.
Never. They fill it with the juiciest possible rumor. And the source material is clear. They were completely convinced he was betraying Jill.
But the real trouble started when Ruth decided to, confront him?
Exactly. And instead of just being patient, Leonard felt immediately attacked. He saw red. He knew they were just, in his words, poking their nose in where it didn't belong.
And this is where the whole thing flips. It goes from a simple misunderstanding to, an intentional act of misdirection.
A huge one.
Because Leonard, just out of pure fury at being accused, he chooses the nuclear option.
He does. He deliberately tells them that he and Jill have an open relationship.
Can you imagine?
The intention there is so key, though. It wasn't just to fool them for fun. It was an act of boundary defense through, sheer absurdity.
He knew it would shock them.
He knew it would shock them and hopefully make them back off entirely. Make the original affair accusation seem ridiculous.
And it absolutely worked. Ruth was reportedly just completely stunned.
But what's interesting? Pip, his own family member, apparently suspected that Leonard was just winding her up.
Oh, that's a great detail.
It is, because it shows that at least one person saw that the motives behind the lie was anger, not, confession.
Okay, but here's where I get a little stuck. If he wasn't having an affair, why risk telling such a devastating lie? Why not just say, mind your own business?
Or just tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
Well, he tells us exactly why. The reason for the fib wasn't about romance or anything like that. It was pure self-preservation.
Autonomy.
Total autonomy. He later says the whole open relationship story was a fib designed to make them back off, but because he was genuinely terrified they'd overreact and try to confine him.
He complained about being checked up on every 5 minutes.
Yes. And that raises a much bigger question, doesn't it, about aging and family?
Yeah.
When does caring concern cross the line into oppressive, stifling control?
He felt like he was being treated like a child.
Precisely. He was worried that if they knew he was doing something as simple as climbing a ladder, they'd immediately put him on inside duties.
Wow.
He had to remind them that he and Jill are perfectly capable and mobile, even though they're knocking on a bit.
Introducing the Archer's Mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information, and to order your very own The Archer's mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
The lie, to him, was necessary to protect his independence.
Which leads us to the delicious irony of what was actually happening.
The best part.
The thing he was so desperate to hide wasn't some illicit affair. It was, literally charitable home improvement.
You couldn't make it up. He was helping his friend Connie from a walking group. She's waiting for a hip replacement, so she can't use a ladder.
And so he was decorating her kitchen diner.
Choosing paint, painting walls, putting up wallpaper, just helping out. Saving her money and keeping himself busy.
So the entire conflict was built on his fear that his family would punish him for doing a good deed.
Exactly, because of their own anxiety. By the end of it, the resolution is, pretty positive. Ruth apologizes, admits she was being nosy. Leonard successfully defended his boundary.
But only by creating massive temporary chaos first.
A necessary evil in his mind.
Okay, so that's a temporary drama based on a fabricated secret. Now we need to transition because we're moving from lighthearted fibs to some really severe, life-altering trust issues.
This is a big tonal shift.
It is. This brings us to segment 2. The story of Amber and George and the intense external pressures they're facing.
And this next situation, it introduces a core sociological challenge, really.
Yeah.
What happens when the family you were born into just outright rejects the person you choose?
Forcing you to choose a new path.
Yes. Amber and George are engaged. We see them staying for tea after George has been helping Eddie with the turkeys, which are looking in good shape, by the way.
But George's past, specifically that he was in prison, has created this devastating split with Amber's parents.
And the level of betrayal Amber is facing from her own dad.
Yeah.
It's just so deep.
It really is. She talks about how her dad met George and just completely turned on the charm.
Right. He made George think he was on side.
Yeah, that he was going to talk to Amber's mother, smooth things over.
That kind of false promise is so manipulative. The father prioritized his own immediate comfort over his daughter's long-term happiness.
He betrayed them both.
Completely. He promised to help and then just didn't. We know because he never followed through, and Amber's mom still hasn't even replied to her message.
You can just feel Amber's painful realization in the source material. She's coming to this awful conclusion that her parents are actually not very nice people.
And then she adds that she's used to it.
I know, that part is just tragic. It's that moment where you realize the people who are supposed to have your back no matter what have basically put their own judgment ahead of your happiness.
It speaks to how some families, when they're faced with a choice between their established worldview and embracing a difficult change, they choose rejection.
Ed tries to offer a little bit of a defense, doesn't he? He says something like, all the parents know is that George was in prison.
Right, implying maybe it's fear.
But Amber just shuts that down. And she's right to. She says that's all they want to know.
Yes, they've already made up their minds. They refuse to look past that one fact, and they're almost weaponizing their lack of information.
But then you get this beautiful contrast, right, with Eddie and Ed's family.
They're the source of that unconditional support. They remind Amber that families are funny like that because they care, but that care shouldn't come with conditions.
And Ed takes it one step further. He basically cements their role as her new foundation.
He does. He promises her, point blank, since you and George are getting married, we will become your family.
That promise is just so vital for them right now, especially with George working so hard to prove himself.
And that desire for validation, for security, that's the tension that brings us right into the crisis of segment 3, the missing money.
And the devastating suspicion that follows. Let's ground ourselves here for a second. We know Eddie is a kind man, but he is notoriously disorganized.
Oh yeah, we have that great anecdote about him losing a ferret.
And finding it in his trousers, a charming little moment of chaos that kind of sets the stage for what's happening now.
It definitely makes him a credible person to misplace things.
Yeah.
But this isn't a ferret.
No, this is serious. Eddie says he's lost a brown envelope with a fair bit of money in it. The upfront turkey payments.
He thinks he brought it home a couple of weeks back and put it on a high shelf, but now it's just gone.
And right away, we see Eddie doing his own kind of information control. He tells Amber, don't mention it to Clary. He doesn't want to worry her.
So now we have missing cash, a well-meaning but chaotic owner, and a secret between Eddie and Amber.
They search for it for half an hour, no luck, and then the terrible, catastrophic coincidence lands.
This is the moment, the timing.
It's all about the timing. Eddie says the money went missing exactly 2 weeks ago.
And Amber realizes.
Exactly 2 weeks ago is when George proposed to me again with this ring.
That's just a gut punch. That's the moment where the bottom just falls out of her world.
Her mind, against everything she wants to believe, is forced to connect those two events.
And it's made so much worse by what George himself said when he gave her the ring.
He specifically said to not ask him how he could afford it.
That instruction, don't ask.
Oh.
It carries so much weight now. It signals a secrecy about the money that bought the ring, which immediately validates this horrible link to the missing turkey money.
She is facing the internal conflict of a lifetime.
The source doesn't tell us George is the thief, not definitively, but it forces you, the listener, to live inside Amber's head during this awful debate.
Did George, desperate to prove his love, to make her happy, especially after her parents' rejection? Did he steal from his own granddad?
From Eddie, the man who has shown him nothing but acceptance.
And we know George has been struggling. Amber says he's been solo. Things haven't been easy since he got out of prison.
His desperation to do the right thing, to get her the ring that means security, it might have tragically driven him to do the absolute worst thing.
The irony is just heartbreaking. He may have betrayed the very people who gave him the sanctuary he was looking for.
And what makes it so intense is her silence about it. She tells Ed the timing is a massive coincidence, but then she immediately begs him to forget I said anything.
That moment, that dawning, secret, painful suspicion where love and trust just collide with cold logic, that is the most corrosive thing in this whole deep dive.
It is. It's the moment where the potential cost of George's past finally becomes real, and it threatens to destroy his future, whether he actually did it or not.
So when we synthesize all this, what does the contrast between Leonard's story and George's story really teach us about family secrets?
It's a stark divide, isn't it?
Completely. Leonard's story was about a calculated lie designed to protect his autonomy.
Right. The suspicion it created was temporary. It was resolved as soon as the simple, benign truth came out. The consequence was just, some brief anger.
Whereas Amber's story is dealing with circumstantial evidence that threatens to confirm the worst possible truth about her partner. The consequence is this deep foundational distress.
A private crisis of faith that could just irreparably damage a future that's already built on fragile trust.
I think the key takeaway is pretty universal. Information control. Whether you're hiding a good deed or hiding where a ring came from, it always creates a vacuum.
And that vacuum will always be filled by suspicion.
Familial concern, like we saw with Leonard, can morph into oppressive control. And desperation, as George's situation suggests, can make even the most dedicated person vulnerable to suspicion from the people who love them most.
And we're left on this profound emotional cliffhanger. The source notes George has been working hard all day, and Amber says he's just out for the count, fast asleep. Given his obvious effort to contribute, and his urgent need to prove himself to this new family, you have to ask, which act would ultimately be more destructive to him? The potential theft itself, which could maybe be rectified, or Amber's dawning silent suspicion that just undermines all the hard work he's been doing? That's the internal storm you're left to mull over.
We started in a kitchen over tea, and we ended on a cliffhanger. A reminder that in a family, trust can be a house of cards, and one small coincidence can bring the whole thing crashing down. Thank you for diving deep into these sources with us.
I'll catch you next time.
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the bull bar.
This one?
Yep, that's...
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline. I mean,
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever